Welcome to episode 40 of Run It Straight, where we answer your questions about how to get better at rugby league. We don't sidestep the difficult topics, but rather give direct, straight-up answers to your questions. In essence, we run it straight. Okay, first question for today. What is your main goal for kids in your academy? I don't know who sent that one in. That's an interesting question. I don't think we've gotten that one before. We did talk a few episodes ago about sort of the purpose, if you remember.
Yep.
But to briefly go over it again, here at League Fit Academy, our focus is helping young rugby league players realise their potential, whatever that potential happens to be. And it's not just about making someone bigger, stronger, faster, more skillful. Do we do those things? Absolutely. And like I said before, I think we do it better than anyone else. But it is about building character. Building character and building better rugby league players is, rugby league in essence is the vehicle for building better people. That's in essence the point of the academy, is that when they come away from us, they are going to be all of those things. They are going to be bigger, stronger, faster, but they're going to be more disciplined. They're going to develop better personal habits. Their communication skills are going to improve and get better. The amount of parents that have come to us, if we go back these days, there's, I don't know, in Sydney, there's probably 10, 12 academies, rugby league academies.
Yeah, it's pretty saturated.
And we've
now.
seen even more come and go in the last 10 years that we've been operating. And, us saying that building better people, which is essentially what the goal of all of this is about, is to make you a better footballer and then by extension a better person. That's something that we pride ourselves on. A lot of these academies all say, they're all saying the same thing. We make people stronger, we make people faster, we do this, we do that. But I'll be honest, we've had that many players, that many young men that have come to us who've been to those other academies, and they stay with us for a period of time. The parents come up and they tell us, look, the difference between you guys and between them is they're just a number to those other academies. They don't care. You guys, you come out, which we do. We go out, and every boy in our academy, we go out and we watch them play on the weekends. That's what my weekends. If you talk to my wife, it's like our date day or our date night is Saturday. We go to 4 or 5 games, and then Sunday we're doing the same thing. It means a lot to the boys, and it means a lot to me. I'd love to go out and see the players. Cal comes out to games, Aaron comes out to games, Chris comes out to games. You might see us middle of winter sitting on a hill with a camera filming. And the boys in the program, they appreciate that. And so when it is that we talk to them about developing all of these different habits and all of these different character traits, they actually listen, because it's not just, a selling point, which for most of these academies it is. Making better footballers and making better people. What have you got to add on to that one?
Oh, well, you're spot on with making the better people part. Obviously, making them better footballers, whether that's going from Division 3 to Division 2, and et cetera, et cetera. That's ultimately why they come here, but it's everything outside of rugby league. It's making them a better person, making them better at school. There's a lot of parents that have come in and actually told us that their discipline has increased at school, their discipline at home's improved a lot as well. Just their whole attitude around everything has just improved by a country mile because of the processes, because of the habits that they build through the gym and through the academy.
Yeah, 100%. And what's going to make you better as a footballer or better as an athlete are the same things, generally speaking, that are going to, because it's doing lots of boring things all the time that add up to something impressive. If it's something as simple as, okay, now you've got to track your food and you've got to do that every day, and you're eating 3, 4, 5 times a day, that means you've got to be disciplined around that. And those kinds of things, if you're being disciplined about something, it's going to spread to other areas of your life, whether it's your school life or keeping your house, keeping your room tidy, or keeping your appearance a certain way. Yeah, that's and as you said, it's just everything around the academy, all these little areas of accountability that we have on the boys that makes them phones,
better.
For
their
example.
Phones, yeah. The amount of times I've seen boys come in the first couple of weeks, they spend 12, 13 hours on the phone. Within 2, 3, 4 weeks of them being here, it's down to 2 hours, 1 hour, listening to audiobooks. So their whole attitude on everything just changes. And that's through processes that we put in place here. So it's not just making them a better rugby league player. Ultimately, that is one of the goals, but it's ultimately making them a better person, a better character outside of the game as well.
Rugby league's the vehicle that we use for improving people.
Yep,
cool.
100%.
All right, next question. How do I get better at passing?
Simple, straight to the point.
Practice. You got to get the reps in. Just as an example, when Kobe Bryant would train, he would make and this was from when he started when he was like 11 or 12, he would make 1,000 shots a day. And so when I didn't say take 1,000 shots, I said make 1,000 shots. So what that means is that to make the actual 1,000, to get them in the net, he might need to make 1,500 or 2,000, have 1,500 or 2,000 actual shots to actually make 1,000 of them. So it's reps, it's lots and lots of reps. If you want to get better at passing, you've got to put the reps in. Set yourself a target every day and then hit that target. Now, the level you're playing at and the position that you're playing on the field is obviously going to determine the type of pass that you need to practice, and you may need to be practicing more than one. Obviously standard 6 o'clock pass, spiral pass, offloads, so forehand offloads, backhand offloads. You need to make sure you're doing everything both directions. Obviously, you could be practicing a little pop pass off your hip. If you're running an X-plane, you need to pop the ball back on the inside. If you're a dummy half, you're going to need to be practicing passing off the ground. Wingers and centers should also practice passing off the ground, because when there's a shift, often it's the winger or the center who has to jump in and get the ball back to the half in the middle of the field. So yeah, like I said, you got to train them passing from both directions, progressing from, if you're really not great, standing still, to then jogging, to then running at full speed. Then you want to be looking at adding in some shape. So, you might be running an overs line before you throw your pass. You might be running an unders line before you throw your pass. What else is there? Anything else that I'm missing out? Oh, I know that in our online academy, we've got tons of videos that we program out progressions depending on your position. So they're position-specific skill programs that incorporate the types of passes that those positions need, along with progressions that change over. You'll be running your sets, your reps with a video explanation for 3 weeks. Then it might change to a progression on that, then a progression on that, and some of those are starting to add shape in. It might be a step in and then an offload, or a step in then out then an offload, or a step out and then an unders line and then a spiral pass out the back if you're a half, or maybe you're a middle who needs to get that shape, where they dig into the line and then hit the half. But essentially at the end of the day, you've got to be practicing, and it's boring, and you've got to do lots of it. Anyone who's mastered any skill is usually someone who's put hundreds, if not thousands of hours into that particular thing. You could go and watch any sport. You watch golf. The amount of reps that those guys have put in to be able to put that little white ball where they want to,
Story of Tiger Woods at the driving range.
Oh yeah, no, 100. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. Yep.
Anytime you see someone performing any particular skill in public, and even outside of sport, it could be a musician or something like that. Anytime you see someone doing something awesome in public and getting rewarded for that, it's usually because they've spent thousands and thousands of hours in private just doing the boring reps beforehand. And once you've done that level of practice, that's when you're going to have the confidence to actually be able to do it on the field, because you've done it a million times before, so it's easy. It's like, I don't know, let's say not that most of the people watching this are particularly good cooks, but if you know how to make a particular cake, you follow the recipe initially and then you've done it a million times. So if someone asks you to make it, I know how to make that. I don't need to think about it while I'm doing it. Because you've got the confidence, because you've got the reps in. And that's what it is. For you to be able to use a 15 metre cut-out spiral pass, if you've thrown thousands of those passes down at the field and you know that 90 out of 100 times you're going to hit it on the X, when it comes to a game, you're not worrying and thinking about, can I execute the pass? You're looking at who's the guy that you need to hit with the ball. And you've just got the skills to back it up. Cal?
Yeah, it's a skill. Passing's a skill, and like every skill, you have to practice it as much as you can, as often as you can. A big one that a lot of people don't seem to practice coming from a middle are offloads. A lot of people want to just practice a 6 o'clock or a spiral.
I've never understood that. It's so... Yeah. It's the most potent weapon that a middle has.
Yeah. You look at most of the best forwards these days, Fanua Blake, Payne Haas, they've all got this real good offload after contact. And these days, second phase footy is killing teams in rugby league. Absolutely killing teams. And that's from coming off an offload 9 times out of 10. So middles, forwards especially, practice a bump, then offload. Forehand, backhand, offhand. So if you're right-handed, do your left, vice versa.
Don't just get good with one hand.
But
you know what? Like we said, I think a lot of times there's a lot of boys who don't have the confidence to do it because they haven't done enough reps to know that. If I've got 2 guys that are tackling me and we're being pushed, it's safer just to go down with the ball.
Yep.
And it's funny because there's a lot of times when players are like, how do I stand out and how do I do this? It's like, okay, well, throw an offload. Oh, but what if it doesn't go right? Well, practice it that often.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a risk. That's rugby league. If you don't take any risks, you're never going to get picked for a rep side. So you can just forget about that. If you just want to play boring, straight, conservative all the time, that's fine. And if that's your level, that's your level. But so many guys ask us the questions, how can I make a rep side? What can I do to stand out? And we tell you these things. Oh, but I don't have the skill set. I'm scared that I'm going to drop the ball. Well, go and practice it. Practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it. Just like, like we said, anyone who's skilled at anything, you look at like a concert pianist who plays a piano, they do boring scales, which is literally just going up and then back down, and they do hours and hours of that every day. It's boring, but that way they can hit whatever note they want to hit without thinking about it.
Exactly. You look at the best rugby league players, the best teams in rugby league, 9 times out of 10 they're starting a session off just by going through the hands.
Yeah, and you might think it's, when are we going to do the really advanced stuff? It's like, no, the NRL teams are just passing, passing. It's just reps that you have to do all the time.
The KISS principle comes into play there. Keep it simple, stupid.
100%.
Just practice it over and over, get better at it. Take your time getting better at it. If you're not great at it now, start off, as Joe said, start off slow, standing still, then walk, then jog, then sprint. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to.
And look, like we said, I think I said it earlier with the Kobe Bryant thing, but you could look at almost any single skill-based sport and look at the legends of that sport. The reason they're in that position is because they spend longer doing the simple, what you were just saying, the simpler drills for longer periods of time than anyone else does. There's nothing special. There's no the secret is boring work and long hours of it. That's what it comes to. So you want to get better at passing, that's what you need to do. Last question. How old is too old to stop playing footy and debut in the NRL? If you're 19 and you're not in the NRL, you should just quit. Or not, obviously. Look, this is one of those how long is a piece of string questions. To give you a few different examples, the oldest debutant that I found was 2022 Dragons debuted a winger, Jonathan Rubin, who was 29, but I think he played a total of 1 game. We had Darren Nichols in 2018. He was 29, he played a handful. But if we want to look at someone who's in that mid-range, Adam Clune, you remember him?
Yes.
So he debuted at 25. He's played about 50 games of NRL before going over to the Super League. He was at Dragons and then he went to Newcastle, and he was a pretty handy footballer.
Cody Walker was a bit older, wasn't he?
Well, that's what I got in here. Cody Walker debuted for Souths at 26. So that is not young at all. And he's gone on and had a massive full career, and he's played Origin. Did he make the Australian sides at all? He may have.
I'm not sure.
That's on me. I didn't research and have a look at that.
But regardless, he's played reps.
Yeah. So he's played at the highest levels, and he debuted at 26. So, how old should you be when you stop playing? Everyone's, your outcome should be, obviously you want to reach whatever level is your level. You want to get to as high as you can. But you know what? If you're watching this, if you're following this, you want to get better, you actually probably like rugby league, right? So play until you can't play anymore. Because, when you get to 35 and then 40 and then 45 and 50 and go to a pub or go hang out with some older guys that are watching it and you'd hear, I'd love to just run around one more time. You get to an age, this is something that you can enjoy it, you can watch it, you can get involved with coaching, training, whatever it is, but you can only play rugby league up until a certain age. Get the most out of it, provided it's not getting in the way of your work and stopping you from earning a living and things like that. Keep playing it for as long as you can. Now, does that mean you need to keep pursuing a career in it for as long as you can? I can't tell you when you should or you shouldn't stop pursuing something. We do get asked this by some boys in the program, when is it okay to stop pursuing the NRL and just play? Maybe you're playing Sydney Shield and that's your level, or maybe it's Massey, between Massey Cup, maybe that's your level. And what we've always said is if by the age of 22, if you're not there and thereabouts as far as getting a cup contract, then it's probably like, hey, look, the chances are it's probably not going to happen. Doesn't mean that it won't, because like we just gave you a bunch of examples of people who did do it older. But if by that age you're not there and thereabouts, it's probably not going to happen. But if you're playing A grade and you're playing with your mates that you grew up with playing footy since you were 5, 6 or 7, and you love and you look forward to it on the weekend, why would you stop playing? Keep playing until the body tells you you can't do it anymore.
And that's one thing that you really pushed on to myself. A lot of the boys who might not have made a rep side at a certain age or anything like that, one thing that Joe and Chris definitely put onto us was, there's going to be a time where you're going to look back at your time playing rugby league. You're going to think, damn, I wish I played one more game. I wish I had a run around. I wish 100%. I could play, even with my son's a big one that you like put out.
Yeah.
Little things like that, and puts everything into the bigger, paints a bigger picture. Nothing's so set in stone. You know, if I don't make it at 25, damn, career's over.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. You can keep playing till you're 40.
You know what? It's one of those things that pursue it for the lifetime of that opportunity, whatever that particular opportunity is. No one's going to regret. If you get to, and we've said this before, we've used it in our marketing campaigns, people say you make people feel guilty, but you know, if you're 35 or you're 40 and you've got your son and he's sitting on your knee and he says to you, Dad, how come you never played for the Bulldogs or for the Eels or whatever team it is that you follow? And you can say to him, I went really hard, I trained hard, I played hard, I gave it my best crack, it just wasn't to be, I just wasn't born with enough talent. Or you can say, oh, you know, I was lazy and I was a sore loser and this coach didn't pick me in this team and everyone was against me and, you know, they were bigoted because of this and bigoted because of that. That's pretty toxic, it's a pretty bad attitude, you're going to have regrets your whole life. Or you can just give it the best crack you can. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, that's just the way that life is. Sometimes you're just not born with enough talent. There's plenty of guys in the NRL that, you know, they got 3 or 4 times as much talent as other guys that are there.
Yep.
That's why they're there. They were born with the right mix of genetics.
Yep.
Not saying they don't have to work there, but genetics definitely help. So look, I can't tell you when is the right time. What I can tell you is you won't regret pursuing it for as long as you can, but play the sport until you can't play it anymore. I think that's about it.
That's it.
All right, Spiz, what else do I need to tell them? Please like, please comment, please follow us. Is there anything else? Send in your questions. Please send in your questions. Oh yeah, and share it, this as well. Again, when you're sending your questions in, please give us as much detail as possible. It just means we can give you guys better responses. Also, if you do have questions, send us private messages on Instagram. I'm starting to get heaps of those now, which is really, really good because, you know, that's why I'm doing this, because I want to help people out. Yep. So if you've got something, even if it doesn't want to go up here, if you want to ask, hey Joe, I'm doing this and this, what should I be doing? Please send your questions, and I am the one who's answering those questions, okay? I'm not fobbing it off onto someone else. I actually spent quite a bit of time doing that. But I love that, love helping you guys, sending in clips. We're getting a bunch of clips coming in from boys as well, game footage. So we will see you in the next one.